Hello everyone, it's time for yet another lesson at ISIFE EDUBLOG, where we live to learn. Today we shall take more figures of speech. First we'll look at irony. Of course, as I've always advised, you start the lesson, the first lesson on figures of speech should come first so that you get the introduction and all that. Now, irony. This is a figure of speech that states the opposite of what is meant, but in a manner that the real meaning will be decoded. This manner may be the way you express it. It may be the situation at hand and what is reality and what is ironic. It may also be an additional statement that you put in the sentence, But when you say the opposite of what you mean, and you do not want this person to understand exactly what you mean, you actually want the real meaning to be understood, but you're saying it in such a manner that the opposite is expressed. You are making an irony. Now, let me create some scenario. If you pick up your plate to go into the kitchen to collect some soup, and your mother says, make sure you finish the soup, oh. Make sure it did not remain anything for your younger ones. That tone alone tells you to be careful. Your mother's means you shouldn't finish the soup. But I also tell people one thing. You must be wary of the person you're speaking in irony to, because some children, given their age, may not be able to decode your ironic statements. Alright? So please, be careful. When you say, finish the soup, oh, make sure you finish it, and the boy goes up, carries the pot, and begins to eat from it directly, you may have created a serious problem. So that's how ironies go. Now, here we have some examples. He is the richest of the travelers. He returned with a local loaf. Alright? For him to have returned with a local loaf of bread means he's the poorest of the travelers. But this person says he's the richest of the travelers. So, this decoder, the decoder is he returned with a local loaf. That's the tone that made us to know that this is the poorest of the travelers. Okay, this mattress is so soft, I may float away. This is to show that the mattress is too hard. The speaker won't be buying it because it is too hard for him. Move these clean clothes of yours away from me. If the clothes are so clean, why would somebody want them to be moved away from them? So these are some typical examples of irony. Move these clothes away. Move these clean clothes of yours away from me. Meaning that these clothes are actually dirty. They're actually dirty, That's a few examples. As I speak, you could be thinking of other examples of irony. Remember, you have to state it in a way that the listener will know exactly what you're talking about. There are other kinds of irony. There's a literature also called situational irony. If I remember correctly, the king, Duncan, had gone to the house of Macbeth and said, I wish I do not have to go back. I may not be quoting his exact words, but he said he wished he didn't have to go back to his own castle. And you know what? He died in the house of Macbeth. He never went back to his house alive. That's a situational irony. In Aikwe Ama's The Beautiful Ones Are Not Yet Born, we also saw a situational irony when the minister went to the man's house, and the man, after entertaining him and all of that, the minister became pressed. He needed to use the toilet, and the man opened his toilet for him to use, but the minister couldn't just bear the sight. It was too dirty compared to what he had at home. So he had to go home to ease himself. He had to go to his own house to ease himself. But you know, some months later, the army overthrew the government of the day, and this minister found refuge in the man's house again. When the soldiers came after him, it was the same toilet he rejected a few months back, that he couldn't defecate in a few months back, that he did not just use, in fact he had to pass through the shithole to escape. That is situational irony. Alright, the literature session will take care of all of those. Now, we go to euphemism. Euphemism. This figure of speech is a mild way of expressing some news or events. It is also a way, a lot of times we look at the negative aspect, it's also a way of showing humility. Alright? It is not all the time. Humility means you are not gaudy, you don't show off, even in dressing. Alright? Now, I have a typical example here. He is well off. Instead of saying he is rich, you say he is well off. Instead of saying I'm rich, somebody will say I'm not complaining. Alright? That's also euphemism. Now, other examples. The company had to let him go after the investigation proved him guilty. Had to let him go instead of saying had to sack him or had to fire him. The company had to let him go. That's to say he has been sacked, has been fired. But this statement is a mild way, euphemism. Euphemism. Grandpa is resting in peace instead of saying grandpa is dead. Alright? That word dead is so scary, so we can let it be and say grandpa is resting in peace. The dog has gone over the rainbow bridge. Yes, to go over the rainbow bridge is a euphemism for pets. Instead of saying my pet has died, you could better say my pet has gone over the rainbow bridge. He is between jobs. That's a mild way of saying he is unemployed. He has lost one job, he's waiting for another to come. He is between jobs. Ours is a developing country. That's a way of robbing our ego. Ours is a developing country. Instead of saying that ours is a third world, or ours is a poor country, or ours is technologically backward, or ours is all the negative things you can think of, it is milder to say ours is a developing country. These are typical examples of euphemism, and you could get more on your own. Create some, because you are creative human beings. Create some for yourself, and we'll have more examples when next I come your way. We'll take more of the figures of speech. We have to look at oxymoron and one or two more before we wrap up this video. So, more of the figures of speech we have here, oxymoron. Now, this figure of speech brings two contradictory words together to create a new meaning. Yes, like I said at the beginning, of course, you need to watch the first video of our web on figures of speech. I did say that there are times when words are not enough. Oxymoron tries to stand in the gap. Now, look at this. We create a new meaning by bringing words that are contradictory together. My brother's cooking is amazingly awful. Now, amazing on one hand, awful on another hand. So this cooking, you will not say is too bad. You will not say is too good. It's something in between amazing and awful. That's how this fellow created this. If the cooking was amazing, it would have been good. If it is awful, it would have been bad. But it is between the two. So how do you describe a meal that is not amazing and is not awful? Amazingly awful. Now, a small crowd has gathered at the scene. A crowd wouldn't have been small, but here we are. Not that it is so few that will just say one or two persons, and not that the crowd is too big. So this person, because of the inability to say the number of persons that are gathered, and because he considered the crowd not too big to be referred to as a crowd, he used the word small crowd. Climb down. You know, when we use climb, we should be going up. But here we are, climb down from there this instant. So, now, climb down tends to suggest that this person should come down. But the word climb should actually mean go up. That's the way of creating some of these expressions, making statements richer and life funnier. Paradox. In my own words, I said, this is a figure of speech that presents truth. That presents truth in a hard-to-believe way. That presents truth in a hard-to-believe way. Now, this truth has been stated, but the manner of presenting it is such that you have to be careful. If not, you will say it is not true. You have to carefully unravel the real meaning behind such a statement. Now, the paradoxical statement sounds absurd at first, but upon further investigation is found to be true. Let's look at this example. There is this popular paradox I didn't want to use as an example, but let me just mention it. They say, it was Wordsworth who said, the child is father of the man. Alright? How can it be the child being father of the man? Well, we all grow old. Today, you might be a child, being pampered, being taken care of, school fees being paid by parents, and all of that. Well, one way the child becomes father of the man is someday this man who takes care of you today, this woman who takes care of you today becomes old, and then you exchange roles. You begin to take care of the old man. You begin to take care of the old woman because they are now too old to take care of themselves. So you see, having become too old to take care of themselves, you begin to take care of them. You invariably have become their father. That's the truth about life. Don't begin to respect the old man or the old woman, because when you could not help yourself, they were there to help you. Now they can't help themselves, be there to help them. You save money by spending it. Is that believable? Is that true? You save money by spending it. I still remember in the Bible it was written that those who will save their lives will lose it. It happens. So, how do you save money by spending it? Yes. Even the money you spend in eating. Even the money you spend in eating. If you spend your money to feed well, you hardly go to the hospital. So you're actually saving a whole lot by spending that money on food. Alright? If you drink clean water by spending maybe 100 naira or 20 naira to buy a sachet water, a sachet of water, you find that you don't have these diseases associated with water. Waterborne diseases, as they're called. So, if you keep spending 20 naira, 100 naira to drink good water, you are saving millions or thousands you might have spent at the hospital. If I know one thing, it is that I know nothing. Socrates was credited to have said this. Yes, another way of accepting or being humble. His wisdom we have continued to use today. But in those days, of course, look at when he died and what the world has become today. He pointed out that he knew that much as people saw him as wise, he knew nothing. The world hadn't been explored. And even today, much as technology has brought us this far, there is still more to be done. If I know one thing, it is that I know nothing. Deep down, you are really shallow. Please, don't let this statement refer to you. How does it mean? You call them ITK, right? I too know. You want to teach someone and the person behaves in that I already know manner. It pisses me off. I have to take a whole lot of things from students who feel they know. Be humble and you get it. So deep down, you are really shallow. Means you might be flying, thinking you know, but you really have to come down to learn. Men work together, whether they work together or apart. That was by Robert Frost. Alright? Whether we are aware of it or not, today, I'm on set teaching you. I didn't invent the camera. Alright? I didn't create YouTube on which you're watching me right now. But then, those who did this, did it at their separate places, and I am here. So, invariably, we are working together, even when we're working apart. Pieces of truth contained in all the examples of paradox you have here, but looking at them from the shallow point of view, they might look so absurd that you say they are not true. Synecdoche is the next figure of speech in our list. Synecdoche is a figure of speech in which part is used to represent whole, or sometimes whole is used to represent part. Alright? This is also a mild way of saying things. We had to hire more hands. Instead of saying we had to hire more workers, this fellow says we had to hire more hands. Hurry up, greybeard. Hurry up, greybeard. That is to say, greybeard is an old man or an old woman. Instead of calling him hurry up, old man, hurry up, old woman, you say greybeard. That is just one part of this man. I drank a Coke. Nigerians do this a lot. Let me show you what we mean here. A typical Nigerian, in fact, not long ago, the brand of mineral called RC has been making a lot of wave, and somebody will tell you, I want RC Coke. What do you mean by RC Coke? RC Coke or RC Fanta. When Fanta is a product of its own, Coke is a product of its own. But what are we saying in a sense? When you use Coke to mean all brands of mineral, you are using Synecdoche because you're using actually a brand to represent all there is in that product. In fact, very many Nigerians, sorry I use the word Nigeria when I know that this video could be watched anywhere, but I'm representing my constituencies, as I say. Now, very many of us do not even know the word for Maggi. Maggi is just a product of the term seasoning. It will be fun to go to a Nigerian market and tell the seller to give you seasoning. In fact, they might tell you they don't have it. That's how crazy it could get, because perhaps the first company to give us seasoning was Maggi. And so we take it. The same thing applies in detergent. Nigerians hardly use detergent. They use Omo. So that's the kind of thing we're talking about. Even when Omo has become a little bit scarce because it is expensive now, you have all manner of detergent in the market, but Omo is used as a synecdoche for seasoning in this part of the world. That is fun. Yes. Again, you just reminded me now. Why are you laughing? It just reminded me now of Indomie. Indomie, you know. Indomie is Nigeria's synecdoche for noodles. Noodles. Alright, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I will see you in other videos. Don't forget to like, don't forget to share, don't forget to subscribe to ISIFE EDUBLOG. Live to learn. Bye.